Episode 21 of The Messenger, the Rachel Cancer Scam. We're back from a little break for about a month and some change. I appreciate your patience.
One of the things that happened at the beginning of all of this, when it all started, you may have heard me say this, I felt like I went into it alone. I knew that Mark was there to share his part of the story and the daughter formerly known as Madison. They were both communicating with me, but I really didn't know. I had no idea at what level they would actually participate in this. And I was alone. Like I seriously was in the dark about all of it. I was just looking for answers for everything. Not the least of which is all of those lies that I had been fed for years. I mean, think about this for a second. I'd been lied to for a dozen years or more by Rachel. I thought for 563 days, the woman I loved more than anything in the world was sick, was losing her battle to cancer. And then you cut to the moment that I had that conversation with Mark.
Harry, this is Mark. Apparently you know my wife, Rachel. Please give me a call when you have a moment.
And then I get the video, seeing her walk through the door the night before. That night before, I was thinking she weighed 66 pounds. I was thinking that she was losing her battle to cancer. I don't know how to articulate that to you, what that felt. Like Bob Dylan says, I wish you could stand inside my shoes, and in that moment, I could be you, you could be me, we could change places. It was like I was watching someone else's story. And if you think about the horrors that I've shared about cancer, about what she said she was going through during that period of time, that 18 months, June 5th, 2022 to December 20th, 2023, I'm just without words. I don't know how to compare it to anything to articulate what it was. I don't know that I'll ever know anything. I hope I never know anything that compares to that moment. I often quote my friend Matt. He's been a partner, a producer of this podcast. He's got a unique way of simplifying things. He's done it for years that way, and I admire that about him. This thing that Rachel did, you've heard me discuss this, but when she was found out, she said, my situation has recently changed. It was just the most ridiculous thing when I called her out. And Matt, in his infinite wisdom, said she had the entire English language to choose from. And those were the words she chose. Those words. It's an entire psychology class on its own. And he's right. It's simple, but it's right. It's spot on. I mean, think about it for a second. When I confronted her, when I said, Rachel, you're not in the hospital. Where are you? Oh, Harry, my situation has recently changed, and I haven't included you. This process of telling this story, of sharing my truth, of utilizing my voice to do this, it's cathartic. When it started, it was, again, just me. But there was something therapeutic about it. And that therapy has turned into this story. And I sit here today and I think to myself, we've done 1 million downloads. 1 million. This is like the little podcast that could. Mark and Madison, a year later, have done so much for this podcast. And others, people are coming out of the woodwork to talk. You may have heard me say this a couple of times. I feel like I'm done telling the story about her cancer. I'm done talking about that hospital stay and the alleged abuses and her fake pregnancy and all of that. Those things, they were central to this story. They are central to the story. I mean, the podcast is The Rachel Cancer Scam. It's called that for a reason, because that's what it was. Go back, listen to season 1, episode 1. But here we are, 32 episodes later, and a bunch of long-form videos here on YouTube and other platforms. And this podcast, this story, has now gone from the Rachel Cancer Scam to the Rachel Life Scam. I mean, look at this. This is what I've done. I took 8 hours one day. I built a timeline. This is like one of those cop shows. I was pissed. I went through everything. It's not all the bad. There's some good in there, the birth of her children. There's some of that. But I was pissed. Like, who do you think you are to do this to somebody? And not just me. Like, am I a scorned lover? In a sense, you could say that. I was. But then I learned all these other things. I learned what she did to Mark and Madison and other men. I had someone on social media write to me the other night, a troll, a keyboard warrior. She said, you just want Rachel dead. And I didn't respond. I always respond immediately. I always get in there and get in on it. I like that. Like, I look at social media like the Rachel Cancer Scam's like a store. It's like Macy's or Dillard's or like the Gap. And everybody that responds and participates is like a customer. Sometimes you get good customers, sometimes you get bad customers. This woman had the stones to say, you just want her dead. I was going to 86 this customer. You're gone. You're on the blacklist. And I metered myself, which is unlike me. And I said, listen, you obviously don't know me and you haven't listened to the story. I don't want Rachel dead. I don't want her gone in that way. But I want her stopped. I want her stopped. And this is what I'm doing. This timeline. The police now have that. The district attorney's office has it. I'm not obsessed with her. I'm obsessed to some degree with the idea of stopping her, of stopping people like Rachel. When I wrote season 1, I was the scorned lover. I was therapeutic, right? Cathartic. I never thought of myself as a storyteller. I'm a storyteller in a bar with a glass of whiskey and a cigar in my hand. Some silly, crazy story from when I was a kid. But I'm not a storyteller like I am now. I felt like when all this happened, I went through a metamorphosis. When I found out that Rachel was sick and that she was pregnant, I realized that I needed to step up. I knew when I asked her to be mine, I needed to step up. But then I asked her to be my wife. And 2 days later, she says, I'm pregnant. Oh, and by the way, my cancer's back. That was what the old people like me call a eureka moment. The light goes off. A eureka moment. I thought, okay, if I'm going to be in this relationship with a woman I've known for 20 plus years, who I've loved at some level for 20 plus years, I'm going to have to give everything. I'm going to have to be present in a way that I've never been present in a relationship before. I'm going to have to be a different Harry. So this metamorphosis happens. I think I'm lucky. I think this is a miracle. Like, how am I going to do this? I've never been present in a relationship like this. And I did. I thought, it's going to sound corny, but I thought like God had a hand in this. You know, Rachel, she always provided some level of comfort to me. Her voice did, her presence did. And for the last 10, 12 years, I thought she was battling this cancer, this blood cancer. And when I talked to her, I would say, how's everything? How's it going? What's happening with the cancer? Everything's fine. I'm feeling okay. How are you? How are you doing? That deflection, I thought it was just humility. I thought it was just a woman that didn't want to talk about her cancer and wanted to know how I was from her heart. I have a friend, a really good friend, close friend, 15 years. His dad's been battling the same cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. His dad doesn't take treatment. People can live through this and not everybody, but some. And this friend of mine's dad is one of them. When scams happen to people, and they happen to people, they do. Generally, they happen quickly. We hear about a lot of scams that happen to women being bilked out of their life savings, being bilked out of everything. Generally, scammers are in and out of people's lives. I knew Rachel for 21 years when I asked her to be mine. I don't know about you. I've seen enough episodes of 2020, Dateline, ID Discovery to know that people have different lives, right? They tell their wife they have one life with them, and then you find out they've got another family, another kid, some other shit going on somewhere else. But who lies to somebody about cancer for 10 years? Regardless of how I met Rachel, she was always one of my favorite people. Always. I found joy in spending time with her. I thought she was beautiful. I felt like I was lucky to have her in my life. And she was brave, all the adversity she faced. All of it. I thought, I'm lucky to have this person in my life. And then we get together in 2021 and she's accomplished so much. She's a lawyer. She's still got an LVN, a licensed vocational nursing license. All of those things. I thought, how lucky am I to have this person? And the wheels started turning. I thought, I need to find a way to figure this out. This is our time. She's the woman that got away. And I did. And I wish I didn't. Everything she said, really, for 20 plus years, I've known her half her life, was a lie. Imagine that. I'm literally sitting here right now, still trying to reconcile, still trying to process the lies. Someone I felt proud to call a friend, the mother of my child, my future wife. I was proud. The reconciliation of that, of all of those lies, is nearly impossible. Every fucking thing was a lie. Everything I thought I knew was a fucking lie. I had a therapist, a friend of mine, on the podcast, episodes 10 and 11, season 2. You can find them here on YouTube. She said something really profound. She said during that interview, she said, Harry, you didn't know anything until you knew everything. It's an oversimplification of it all. But it's like what Matt said. You know, Rachel had every word in the English language to choose, and she chose those. But this friend of mine, I love that line. I use it all the time. I didn't know anything until I knew everything. So the therapist and I, we record episodes 10 and 11. It's good. It's on Zoom. I'm happy with it. We were done. I thought, this is magnificent. She's great. Great observations about why I fell for this. She was honest. She was brutal. She was tough. It was tough for me. And then she called me back. She said, you know what? I've been thinking about this. And I don't want my name on this. I'm sorry, you don't want your name on this? And I thought for a second about what she said to me in the beginning when she heard the story. And she said, I'll come on your podcast. I'll talk about the narcissist. But this isn't a narcissist. This is someone that's pathological and sociopathic. She said, I'm worried about you, be careful. And when she called me back and said, I don't want my name on this, she spoke those same words. I don't want to bring this into my life. By the way, this woman is married to a guy that is a protector. He's a good protector. But she didn't want to invite this into her life. So we had to redo it. I didn't get to use her name. I didn't get to use any video from it. Her words, her voice, all of that more than make up for it. You know, I've continued to find folks along the way that specialize in experiences and healing from narcissists and trauma. There's this community that we're building through these live things that we're doing on the various platforms. People that share stories. And I want people to share their stories. It's healthy. We all have a voice. We can use it. We can use it for good. Clearly, we know we can use it for evil. Look at what Rachel did, what she used her voice for. You can take your power back. And lots of people don't need to do that, right? We know that. Lots of people don't have a shitty story like mine to share. But a lot of people do. Thousands do. Maybe hundreds of thousands do. Maybe millions do. If one person gets their story out because of what I have done, it's huge. I want to encourage you. If you're someone that has been through a trauma, if you're someone that has been through an abusive relationship, I want to encourage you to tell your story. You don't have to have a voice like mine. You don't have to have a delivery like mine. You don't have to have a beautiful studio like I'm sitting in right now to tell your story. You need a phone. You need to sit in front of it and tell your story. You need to open your mouth. You need to take your power back. This is the first episode of this podcast that I'm taking my power back in a different way. I'm telling my story on video, and I'm going to keep telling my story on video. I want you to see and feel what I went through. It's one thing to listen to the podcast and to hear the beautiful score that Andrew Reagan has done for my podcast, but it's another to sit here and look at you and tell you what happened, and tell you and show you what Rachel did. To be able to say, look at this. That's real life crime TV. I don't need a glass board and a bunch of detectives. I don't need an arrest warrant. I don't need any of that. I need to tell my story and hand it off to the police, hand it off to the DA, hand it off to the people that know what she did. I'm going to spend some time talking about what she did to Mark. And I'm going to do that in the next episode. About how she framed him, what she did to him. Do me a favor. Everyone says it. You know, everyone says it. This is what drives me crazy about YouTube. Everyone at the beginning of their video goes, thank you for joining us. Hi guys, thank you for joining us. Do me a favor and click the button and like it. Follow me, subscribe. I get to the point. But here I am at the end and I got a second, so I don't know where the button is, but I think it's down there. Follow me, subscribe. This is a cautionary tale. This is going from the Rachel cancer scam to the Rachel life scam. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.